I would have begged them. I would have done it for free, but my agent gets quite panicky when I say things like that.
Welcome to Peru.
I'll be honest, I think like a lot of fans were kind of worried after like that sequel, and it took so long for the third one to come out. Did you always know there was always going to be a third film, or did you worry sometimes?
No, I thought, well, obviously the pandemic got in the way, and then there were all sorts of behind the scenes, ups and downs. But at the heart of it was always Dougal Wilson, doggedly with his storyboard and his ideas, constantly revising them. And our amazing producer Rosie Allison, who said, "This is going to happen. We just need to get all our ducks in a row." Yeah. And we finally got there. And so it's lovely to see that it's finally over the line and out there. I haven't seen the finished version yet, but the feedback we're beginning to get is really lovely and positive. So
yeah, absolutely. It delivered everything I wanted from the Paddington film. Like
Good.
feels, the funny, the like unique visuals, which I think you always get from this. But with Dougal Wilson taking over, how did it feel different, or was he just kind of an extension of Paul King? Almost?
No, it felt very different. I mean, particularly with Dougal's nerves, bless him, because he said, "How am I ever going to match what Paul created?" But he has. He's not only stepped into those very big shoes, but he's filled them beautifully and added his own flavours and tones. As you say, there's some visual ideas in it which are gloriously fresh, and there's a particular sequence to do with Mrs. Brown reflecting on when they could all sit on a sofa together, and she's doing a painting of the sofa years, and it becomes that we become that painting, and visual touches like that, which are uniquely cinematic, I think are glorious, and they're Dougal's signature. And the film is dotted with visual gags, of course, and a lovely Buster Keaton reference towards the end. And so aficionados who know their movies will delight as much as people coming to a movie for the first time. But at the heart is just the story of this darling bear and his next adventure.
Yeah, and talking of stepping into shoes, Emily Mortimer taken over from Sally Hawkins as Miss Brown, as she's been saying, you suggested her for the role, or like she came into your head for it. What kind of different dimension do you bring? Because I think she really makes the emotional finale of this.
She
work.
does, absolutely. I mean, goodness me, talk about being lucky enough to work with both Sally Hawkins and now Emily as Mrs. Brown. And they're both genius actors, and I think, as you say, with Emily, there's this huge emotional heart towards the end of the film where this where I think the snuffles will happen, as they did in Paddington 2, which is just Emily through and through. She's a great warm character as a person, and that shines through on screen, and she has all the quirks and peculiarities that you would want in a Mrs. Brown.
Yeah, and we get some great newcomers. The Paddington movies have always had, you had like Nicole Kidman first film, Hugh Grant second, and this time Olivia and Antonio are so good in this as well. But for you, it's a reunion with Olivia because you're in the brilliant TV series 2012. Is that helps to come when, because she's so funny in this film. I must imagine it must be hard to keep a straight face when she was doing.
Well, yeah, having worked with her before, I know quite how brilliant she is, and it was great because I could say, "Quick, test me on my lines," and because that's what we used to do in 2012. But she really embraced this part, and clearly is having an absolute ball with it. As is Antonio, who's a proper team player and one of the gang and led from the front, and I think he had a lot of fun playing his nod to Fitzgerald.
Yeah, he's just so fun. I can't wait for people to discover both of them. It looks gorgeous as well, and so different to the other films because obviously they went to Peru to film these locations. But were you a little bit gutted that you never actually managed to step that far out of London?
Yeah. Well, these things happen. But judging by some of the as it were, the war stories from the second unit who went out there, they had some pretty tough times. And, in pretty tough terrains to encounter. So I was quite happy that they came back with this amazing footage. John Sorapure, the second unit director, has done a fantastic job, filming the Amazon and filming the rainforest. Everything the audience sees is genuine. It's not, created, certain elements of the film are created in the computer, but the landscapes certainly aren't, and it's beautiful. And the technology that they are able to bring from South America and recreate in the UK was quite something. So yeah, visually it's fantastic, and Eric, the DOP, brings his inimitable style again.
When it came to both of you being asked to be in Paddington, I'm guessing it must be the easiest yes either of you have had in your career.
Oh yeah, I mean, I would have begged them. I would have done it for free, but my agent gets quite panicky when I say things like that.
Yeah, for me,
Yeah.
When I read the script, that was for me the passport to the movie. I read it and I saw possibilities just to just play a character that was interesting in a movie that was beautiful, with a central character that is just adorable. So yeah,
Definitely. And I feel we have to talk about your musical number, Olivia. It's so good. I feel some people will be saying it's going to challenge Hugh Grant's at the end of Paddington 2. I mean, it's great.
Oh, now that's
it's great.
all
I'm just
fighty
saying,
words.
getting out there.
That's not true.
it is true.
Yeah. How was it filming that? Because was that actually quite a challenge compared to the rest of it?
Well, yeah, because turns out people who can sing and play an instrument and move, it's really hard. And I had to do one song, but it just makes, suddenly you think of going to see anyone performing on stage with dance routine. Beyonce, dance routine and singing.
Yeah.
And I had a very long skirt, and thankfully Jen White, the choreographer, said, well, luckily the skirt hides your feet, because I literally can't do everything all at the same time. I was pretending, and it's really hard.
You might have to start preparing for it, maybe at the BAFTAs, do it on live on stage so the whole audience know.
I don't think I have to start worrying about that, because it's not going to happen.
Were you a bit disappointed to not get a musical number? I mean, you get Hunter Cabot is such a fun character to play, but did you want to stretch your musical chops as well?
There was a moment at some point they said that for the end credits that they wanted to do a musical number with all the characters. Yeah, at some point, but at the end, there was no time, or maybe no budget, or I don't know what.
But spent it all on trying to hide
they thought about it better, but it didn't happen. I wouldn't mind, just to do it. I love musicals. I think it's a beautiful art form. Yeah.
But you do, I mean, at least we'll keep spoilers out of this, but you get to have haunted by its past, shall we say.
Yeah.
So you get to play opposite yourself. How's Antonio as a scene partner?
It was fun, actually, just to be on both sides. There is a moment that I am actually punching myself.
Yes.
And snapping on myself, and I had to play both sides, and to do it with nobody. It was just
Did
being
you
a
have
slapper.
anyone standing in just for...
No, I was just doing it by myself. Bah, 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 bah. And then I did the other side and inserted me. I don't know how they did it, but it was kind of fun, actually, punching myself, because sometimes I thought about it, but this time I could materialize that. So yeah, it was good.
Yeah. I mean, you could have had Olivia. You could have been standing in for him on those kind of scenes.
I could have done that for you.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah.
She could have done it.
And talking of magic and digital realism they do with this, it looks great, but you never got to go to Peru and see these kind of things. Were you both a bit gutted? You hear the title, you're like, holiday to Peru.
Basically,
I
that
was
says
packed.
a lot. That says a lot about our art director.
Yes.
I mean, wow, that's a lot of work.
It was amazing, wasn't it?
Yes.
And
Yes.
were you saying that you have actually been to Peru,
Yeah.
and when the Home for Retired Bears, for example, looked so brilliant,
Yeah.
people who had been said, it's
The feeling was there. Eh?
Yeah.
And believe me, because I told several interviews before that I was in Peru, and the feeling is Peru. I mean, these people knew what they were doing, color-wise, the shapes, everything. The whole environment was Peruvian. It was very beautiful, very well done.
And the Peruvian extras were all Peruvian people living in the UK,
In the UK, yeah.
which is just lovely.
I just wanted to start first, Madeline and Samuel. Like, it's been 10 years since the first movie. Can you rewatch that film? Because you've essentially grown up on screen.
Yes and no. I don't like rewatching myself, but I think for the sake of having seen, when I see it again, I will definitely go back and look at it just for nostalgia's sake, because they're such beautiful films, and I'd love to re-explore and feel those feelings again when I was filming there. So So,
Yeah, I think for me it was strange at the time, and sort of now I can watch those films and kind of see it in a different light and just think, oh my gosh, we were so young, and it's really nostalgic and sort of sentimental and emotional, and it's a whole decade of our lives that we've lived. It's amazing.
Yeah, and for you, Carla, I imagine being approached for a Paddington movie, because of how beloved our previous two are, must be the easiest yes you've ever had to say, to be like, Antonio's your dad. Like, I mean, how can you say no?
It's surreal. That's the word, and it's been surreal since the first day that I got the call, and this is massive. It's nothing compared to anything that I've done in Spain or that Spain has never done. So, just a blessing to be here, to be truthful.
Yeah, and you have, you're used to having really great guest stars coming on this with Hugh and Nicole in the first film. This time you get Olivia and Antonio, they're so good in this movie. So I was wondering for you, Carla, how did you work on that connection with Antonio as playing your father? Was it hard to keep a straight face when he was doing all sorts,
it was not hard. It just felt like it was meant to be. We met. We started bonding over things that we had in common, which is basically musicals. We both love musicals. And then he is just an amazing human being, an amazing actor. And it wasn't a hard work to make people believe that we are father and daughter. I think so.
Yeah. Carla, did it feel everything like you thought a Paddington movie would, with that kind of warm set and everyone just being there?
Yeah, I had expectations, but it was more than I could ever imagine. Like, everyone was so nice. They helped me a lot. They all understood that I wasn't from here, that I was just this little girl that flew in and started a new movie and a new whole project. And everyone had that in mind, and especially having Dougal as a newcomer too. It was kind of special that we both were starting this together. So I think that everyone was so welcoming and made all the process more enjoyable.
And you had Dougal yourself as a newcomer, but also Emily Mortimer as Mrs. Brown, first time on this film, which is really tricky to follow in the footsteps of Sally Hawkins, but she does such a great job and brings her own spin to it. How was it for you having to rework a relationship with an on-screen mother, someone different?
It really wasn't that difficult at all, because Emily is such a lovely personality to be around and to work with. And meeting her for first time in rehearsals, we were just like, okay, this is perfect. She's Mary, and it was great working with her, and how she enhances the performance of Mary on screen is beautiful.
We were able to build that relationship quite easily off screen with her, which then makes it obviously much better on screen. Yeah. And I think she fit into the Paddington family as much as you guys did as well.
Yeah, definitely. Because it's been 10 years since the first film, and you wouldn't have known how successful this series would be, but what do you think it is about the Paddington movies that have made them endure and made them such a beloved classic for all ages?
It's its values. They're universal. Everyone gets to relate to the values that Paddington has. I think it's about that. Yeah,
definitely. He's a timeless character. It's crossed so many generations, from Michael Bond's original books in late 50s to now in 2024. It speaks for itself in the fact it's hit so many generations of people, and I think it forever will.
Yeah. I think it's just the style of writing that Michael Bond did for these books, and how they're translated onto screen makes it just so easy for anyone to watch, whether you're 2 years old or 82. So it's lovely.